Welcome to the 2024 Scoopies.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scoop Slam podcast. We are back. It is finally the 2024 edition of the Scoopies. This is the third annual Scoopies. As always, as we do every year, we're rounding out the year with our awards, handing out best and worst and this and that. As always, I am Micah. On the other end of the call, the co-host of the Scoop Slam podcast. We are in our suit and tie. You're just going to have to take our word for it. It's Ryan.
Yo, Micah. Great to be back here. Third annual Scoopies. Move over, Slammies. We're ready to scoop it, slam it, and talk about a wild, wild year of 2024 in professional wrestling.
Yeah, there was definitely some ups, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, and this one might be a little one-sided, but I won't reveal all of our cards just yet.
And let's preface
go
this.
ahead.
Let's preface this by starting out the show by saying we are not getting paid by one Paul Levesque. We are just two fans calling it like it is. And if you don't like our opinion, well, screw you.
There's the door. We call a spade here on the Scoop Slam podcast, and sadly, these spades are Fed shield.
Oh, well.
Nah, we'll see. I got a couple, maybe honorable mentions. I don't know. But, Ryan, first off, before we get too far into anything, I got to ask, just off the dome, what would you say is your favorite moment of the year? It wasn't necessarily a category or an award we're handing out, but just as a fan.
Man, it's hard to top that WrestleMania Night 2 ending sequence with people call it online the series finale of the WWE, and that's what it kind of felt like when you got all the cameos and all the appearances, and finally Cody Rhodes finishes his story in the main event of WrestleMania. It's hard to top that moment right there as a fan, as a viewer, as a lifelong fan, Micah. I mean, I got a little misty-eyed at the end of that show.
Yeah, it was very good, and like I caught myself looking back on some of this from the past year, and just like I don't know, man, that week before WrestleMania, like I was genuinely like excited. I was like, man, I can't wait to the weekend.
Yeah,
and like it's kind of rare for WrestleMania to make you feel that way the past couple of years, but I was like, man, I've got to know what happens.
Yeah, man, it was a payoff of basically a 40-year storyline.
Yeah. That's still going.
Yeah, of course. It will never end.
No. So I would definitely put that in consideration for mine as well. I do have to lend my favorite moment of the year to Punk versus Drew, just because we were there, and like it was such a good feud to me. I felt like old CM Punk was back again, and it was my favorite stuff he's done since the MJF feud. And to be there live for it too, even if the rest of the pay-per-view was hit or miss. But as a fan, like and two, it feels good because everybody has crapped all over Punk ever since he left AEW. Oh, he's washed. Oh, he's a cancer. And like just to see the total 180 that he hit, or his public perception has done out of the ring and in the ring, it all kind of culminated at Bad Blood. So I would say that's my favorite moment of the year.
They beat all those washed up allegations with that match, because I mean, you know, his other matches with Drew, they were okay. You know, some were good, some were okay, but that Hell in a Cell match, I mean, it had the emotion, it had the in-ring psychology work, it had the blood, Micah. It was the first time we seen blood in a Hell in a Cell match in a very long time. So, yeah, it's hard to beat that. And I'm sure we'll talk about that match coming up later on. Wink, wink. But, yeah, man, overall, it was a pretty good year to be a fan for 2024. But in some respects.
Lots of good stuff to pick from. Lots of bad stuff to avoid. But
yeah,
We'll go ahead and start off our third annual Scoopies, Ryan, with the most improved for 2024 award.
Ooh.
I'll let you go first. Who you got?
You know, you could have went with a lot of guys here. You could have went with Obafemi. I mean, he's shown some big strides of improvement in 2024, but he's stuck on the NXT show. Not a lot of guys are seeing him. But I got a feeling when he gets to the main roster, he's gonna be massive. They might just smash him over like they did Brock Lesnar back in 2002. Just give him a world title 3 months into his reign. I could see something like that happening.
I wouldn't hate it.
Oh, no, I wouldn't either. Maybe like a Braun Breaker. He could have won this award. He definitely won me over in the year 2024, Micah, because I was not a fan of him the start of the year. I don't know if you remember. I was a little bit of a skeptic, but you know he's shown that he can hang with the main event guys on Monday Night Raw, and shows that he is going to be a future star, and he might have surpassed MJF as far as the top wrestler under 30. I think it's debatable, but
it's debatable.
But Micah, come on now. This is Bronson Reed's award. I mean, Bronson Reed, one little injury from Seth Rollins to start the year changed his whole trajectory for the better. I mean, how can you argue that?
I mean, I agree with you. We kind of talked about this on the last episode about the rise of Bronson Reed and just how everything has kind of fallen into place for him this year. The booking has really gotten behind him, and that has helped.
Yeah. The crowd got behind him too. When he smashed Seth Rollins with all those 8-9 tsunamis back to back when he attacked him. I think that was after SummerSlam, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so he came out, beat up Seth, which is that's gonna get your pop, and especially in my house. And he hit 8 or 9 tsunamis on Seth, and then just something flipped, man. You felt something. You felt something right there in the arena. The crowd was behind him, and then he had that feud with Braun Strowman, which had no right to be as entertaining as it was. And then from there on out, they just figured out a way to book Bronson Reed that's gonna get fan reactions, which is have him go out there, have him destroy guys, have him destroy heavy machinery, and have him do the tsunami. It's a winning formula.
Yeah. There's not much more I can say because I also had Bronson Reed as my most improved for 2024. However, I did include somebody else just because I liked them enough in a different way. I just kind of felt like they were underutilized, but I thought Willow Nightingale really showed some strides in that Mercedes Moné feud.
Okay.
And I genuinely think she is the best women's wrestler in AEW.
Wow. Over Mercedes.
Okay. And I don't know if you remember, but during that feud, she got like crazy babyface reactions. Like I remember when she powerbombed Mercedes. I mean, like the people genuinely got up for her, and that's pretty rare for women's wrestling, but definitely women's wrestling in AEW.
Okay, I hate to poo-poo your idea here, Micah, but I mean, if the popcorn vendor would have sent Mercedes through the table, I think he would have got a big pop too, because people aren't digging Mercedes' run in AEW so far, especially the fans.
Well, I mean, yeah, but still, she cut a really good promo before that. I think she's really good. She got bogged down with the Statlander feud.
Oh, the weird Statlander feud. Yeah.
Yeah, because then Statlander immediately goes into a thing with Monet when they could have done that after and then had Statlander turn Willow, but we'll get to some booking decisions later. However, I do want to say for honorable mentions, Solo Sikoa.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Come a long way, especially being involved in the main event scene. I feel like I'm starting to come around on him, and that's a good thing. And lastly, Kyle Fletcher. He kind of looks like The Miz.
Okay, yeah, he does.
He kind of looks like young Randy Orton, but he's got some size. The people somewhat care about him in AEW, which is more than most can say. And I don't know. I think he is stepping into the next level.
I don't like his voice. Can we do something about that? Can we get him a voice changer like they did Kane back in the late 90s?
You got Don Callis right there.
Does he? Is he a manager? What's he do?
All I can think of is that meme where it literally says, "What does he do?" with like a giant red arrow.
But seriously, though,
Yeah, I don't know.
what does he do? He's not a manager, is he? He's just a commentator when his guy's out there.
And he's there for the screwdriver.
What's that? Some kind of sexual reference, Michael?
No,
Okay,
not yet.
All right.
I was really proud of myself for my goon joke last week. I felt it was so good I had to bring it up again. but moving on to our next category, probably at this point we should probably do what Meltzer does and just rename the award after this guy. But for best non-wrestler, once again, this is Paul Heyman's award.
Oh, of course.
I don't really think there's another person that you can give it to.
If MVP would have joined AEW at the beginning of the year, I think he could have had a shot at this award.
Yeah, I think it's been too quick for him.
Yeah.
But Heyman, like, dude, the Madison Square Garden show where he gets power bombed through the table. Jesus, what a pop. And not to mention, he just came back and still got a momentous pop.
Oh, yeah. Just by his voice. He doesn't need no interest music, just his voice. Ladies and gentlemen. And then the audience goes insane. And
he's obviously been involved in the top program at the beginning of the year and really throughout the entire year for the past couple years. He goes away and you notice a hole in the fabric when Heyman's not there. Not necessarily from like a creative standpoint, but just like you just feel like someone else should be there. And now that he's back, everything feels like it's tied together again.
Yeah.
I don't think that Heyman loses this award probably until he retires.
Oh, he just adds so much intrigue to the whole bloodline storyline. He doesn't even have to be there. You'll see a segment where Roman's trying to call Paul Heyman and he gets a disconnected number. And then that just adds on to the whole storyline. And Heyman doesn't even have to do anything, doesn't have to show up or anything, man. It's insane. Heyman is one of the most underrated parts of the whole bloodline storyline.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, we said it last year when we gave him this award, but he is the greatest manager of all time. At this point, I don't think there's a debate.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely not. Maybe some old heads will say the Brain, which, it's their opinion, but for my money, I'm going with Heyman just because of the generational effect, because multiple generations have been affected by Heyman.
Yeah. However, I did have an honorable mention. Just because I have liked his work throughout this year.
Yeah.
I think Adam Pearce has done really good this year because you got to think all of the moving parts, like with Bronson Reed, Drew, back and forth for a little bit. I think he's done a really good job as general manager of Raw, which Nick Aldis has too, but I think Pearce has been more involved, and I've really enjoyed his involvement in the storylines this year, even if it is small.
And he can take a heck of an RKO.
That too.
Yeah.
We need him. We need Pearce versus Aldis at WrestleMania.
How's your selling with the RKO, Micah? You a good seller of the RKO?
Well, I used to be called Dolph Ziggler on the trampoline back in the day.
Do you do like the whole face plant sale, or you just do like a knee sale where like kind of like Kane, where he doesn't really take the whole bump, he just kind of takes it on his knee? How do you sell?
No, you got to do the face plant.
Oh yeah,
and then you got to flip over after.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
But That kind of ties into my predictions later, but we'll get to that a little later.
Does it? Okay.
All
right.
sort of, but well, you got to follow me on it. Following that, we got some bad awards to hand out to, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh.
This one starting us off.
My favorite.
Worst PLE/worst pay-per-view of 2024. Ryan?
Oh, man.
Hit me with it.
It'd probably be a little too easy to give it out to AEW. So I think I'm going to give it to Crown Jewel, man. Crown Jewel 2024. What a big nothing burger of a show. What do we title that? Snoozer and Saudi?
Snoozer and
there
Saudi.
You go. The opening match with the Bloodline, OG, and then was it Roman and Jay versus, or was it Roman, Jay, and Jimmy versus Jacob?
It was a 6-man.
Okay. That was an okay match, but it really didn't have any stakes or anything. I mean, the crowd was hot for it, but the rest of the card, man, it felt like it wasn't canon at all. Like the guys and the gals won the Crown Jewel title, which aren't going to be referenced at all for the next year. So this kind of just felt like a standalone event here where nothing really mattered. Did you get that same feeling?
Oh, 100%. And it is one of my honorable mentions. And I don't think it helped that it came after Bad Blood, which was also kind of a nothing pay-per-view in between. Like, if you can imagine just like a burger with just the most flavorful buns on each side, that was Bad Blood. And then just nothing in the middle. Oh, because the opener with Punk and Drew, great.
Yeah.
The main event segment, really good. And then in the middle, just stunk. And so that kind of was the same with Crown Jewel. It's like we have the Bloodline match and nothing else. There was no Punk and Drew to make that card any better.
Mm-mm. And we had Liv and Nia. I mean, Gunther and Cody it was fine, but I'm not going back and watch that.
It was just
I'm not going back to watch that.
For my honorable mentions, I have that. I have Elimination Chamber all the way back at the start of this year.
Oof.
Which was mainly Drew winning, but other than that, nothing happened, and Rhea had a match with Nia that I thought was better than I expected, but you knew Rhea was going to win because it was right before Mania. And another honorable mention is Survivor Series, which we just talked about. But, oh my God. If it wasn't for the main event. However, I did like that triple threat with Braun.
Yeah. I thought that was okay.
I don't know.
I thought that was good.
And even the main event was rough. But my winner for worst PLE or loser for worst PLE/pay-per-view is All Out 2024.
What happened there?
Ryan, I was about to ask, do you need a refresher, sir, on what happened
I don't.
In Chicago?
I don't remember.
Well, I had to look this up because I was just skimming through everything. Oh, buddy. All right, so to start the match or start the card off, MJF.
Wait, pause. Is this the show that happened a week after All In?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. MJF defeated Daniel Garcia by pinfall. That went 25 minutes.
Of course.
The Young Bucks defeated the Blackpool Combat Club for the World Tag Team Championships.
Did they?
They did.
Wow. I forgot they feuded.
Yeah, because they were trios champions at the time.
Okay.
The Blackpool Combat Club.
Okay.
Will Ospreay defeated Pac for the AEW International Championship. I remember that match being fine. This is where it starts to take a turn.
Okay.
And it really hadn't been that good anyways. Chris Statlander defeats Willow Nightingale in a Chicago street fight that went 15 minutes. And she made Willow tap.
I thought you liked that one.
I thought it was better than anything else on the card, but it wasn't great.
Okay.
Kazuchika Okada defeated Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, and Konosuke Takeshita for the AEW Continental Championship.
Okay. Yeah. I remember that went forever.
Yep. Mercedes defeated Hikaru Shida.
That happened? Oh, wait. Is that the one where Wig was falling off?
Yes,
okay.
and it took 16 and a half minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The real two egregious ones following the monumental Bryan Danielson victory win at All In was Bryan Danielson defeated Jack Perry for the AEW World Championship in 27 and a half minutes.
Bro, how crazy is that? They give one of the most legendary wrestlers of the 21st centuries. They give him a world title run, and then his first feud is against Jungle Jack Perry, and he loses the title like a month later after that. How crazy is that?
He had no good defenses. Like, he beat Okada on TV, I think, and everybody thought that was like, oh, you know what? But like, it wasn't anything special, and they wasted what could have been a great world title run for him. But lastly, Ryan, your favorite, Hangman Adam Page defeated Swerve Strickland in the Lights Out Steel Cage match. 32 minutes.
The match that meant nothing because both guys are currently squandered in the mid card right now.
Yep. So maybe some stuff happened, but
what did it really mean?
It really wasn't anybody I like. Yeah. And nothing meant anything. Like, that was your main event. And where are those guys now? Danielson's not even in the company anymore. Perry's worse off than he was then. Mercedes is worse off. Sheeta's not even on the TV. Statlander and Willow are now both squandered because you did a backwards feud for them. The Bucks are off TV. The Blackpool Combat Club and Moxley are entrenched in this.
I don't know.
I don't even know. The universe of their own.
We'll talk about that later. But hey, you fed Shield. That wasn't the main event. That was a lights out match. Not technically a main event.
That's correct. I'm sorry. It wasn't sanctioned by the company, even though they recorded it and displayed it on pay-per-view and paid for the cage and the ring. Yeah. But yeah, it's unsanctioned by the company.
Provided the referee.
Yeah, ran the DraftKings Sportsbook ad before the match.
Yeah, they almost took down our TikTok DraftKings.
No, that was another card.
Oh, okay, well, forget them. We don't like DraftKings.
Still, no DraftKings here, man.
F them.
Or Prize Picks.
Oh,
took my money.
Was it Prize Picks? I don't know. It was one though.
No, DraftKings is the one that got us, but Prize Picks, I kept losing money and it pissed me off. I deleted it.
Did you just download it?
Yeah, I had it for like a month. I made $90 at the start of college football season. I was like, heck yeah, this is easy. Never won again.
Yeah, that's how they get you, bro. It's crazy. Sports gambling it's so big right now, man. It's insane. You can't watch a single sporting event without seeing a online betting website being advertised to.
And I mean,
that can't be healthy, right? Just teaching our young men to be gambling addicts.
And like, I've actually kind of seen a pushback, which surprised me because you don't hear a lot of people complain about it. But I think I was watching a clip from like Pat McAfee show. No. It was some other maybe like fantasy football podcast. I don't remember. But somebody in the comments was like, hey, I really appreciate that you guys don't do gambling ads because literally everyone else does it. So I was like, huh. I mean, it's kind of surprising there's pushback to that.
Bro, it's a dangerous game because, like I said, tongue in cheek, it's teaching our young men to be gambling addicts. But it really is. We're supposed to be the generation to end smoking cigarettes, and then they just reskinned it as vaping. We were supposed to be the generation to end, all the gambling stuff. You go to the gas station and you see an old person, hey, let me play my numbers. And you just laugh that off, but in reality now we're doing basically what they were doing. It's more easily.
And I blame Happy Corbin.
You said you blame Happy Corbin.
Oh yeah, he calls.
He did. Yeah. Where's he doing?
Impact got a spot.
Well, you ask your man Dolph. Sure, he'll take him in.
Well, that's TNA World Champion Nick Nemeth
Oh,
to you,
okay.
sir.
Yeah. Well, where's tell him to take care of his brother. His brother keep on finding his way to controversy.
Well, I guess that's true. But we move on to the best PLE / pay-per-view of the year of 2024. And I feel like we're both going to pick the same thing once again.
Yeah.
But Ryan, I think you went first last time. I'll do the honors. WrestleMania Night 2 got to be the lock for best pay-per-view of the year. Which, I mean, if you really want to include Night 1 or WrestleMania as a whole, because Night 1 is my honorable mention, just because The Rock's in the ring. But Night 2, it just, you felt good after watching Night 2, just because of the ending we've already spoken about. And there's so much I feel like you can go back from that show and watch. And I have. Like, I've went back and watched the Cody and Roman match. And how much wrestling can I say that I went back and watched from this year? Not much.
It's hard to top WrestleMania Night 2 or Night 1, like you said. It was just, it had the spectacle, it had the big fight feel for the main event. And like I said, man, the ending was just, I mean, you couldn't book it any better. Maybe you could if you would have had Steve Austin, but still, though, I mean, Undertaker is a good 1B to have just in case you can't get Steve Austin. So yeah, man, WrestleMania Night 2, my favorite PLE of the year.
My favorite PLE in a long time.
Yeah, we liked 39 last year.
That's true. It was very good, except for the ending, which always leaves the sour taste in your mouth, but it was really good.
Yeah.
Well, we move on, which I figured we would have at least a couple here, and this is another one that we're probably going to have the same answer. I got to redeem myself for last year, but Booker of the Year, Ryan, I'll let you do the honors. Roll the red carpet out for your man.
Well, man, you could have had Shawn here. Shawn Michaels. I personally would not have Shawn here, but a lot of people that are diehard NXT fans, they speak very highly of Shawn's booking philosophy, booking style, of how he books the women, how many women he books on the show, what kind of women he books on the show, because apparently he has a type that he books on that particular show. And they praise his backstage segments, which are not for me, but some people like it. So, hats off to them. He had a big turnaround with a 2.0 from where it started and where it's at right now. So, I mean, you look at the ratings, night and day. I think they did almost 700,000 this week, Micah, for that NXT show. So, I mean, you got to give credit to Shawn Michaels. Even though we're not fans of his particular show, figure he deserves a little shout out here. But I think we got to give this to Triple H, man. Any sensible person would give this to Triple H. The whole booking of WrestleMania, where it kind of got flipped on his ear last minute with the inclusion of The Rock, Triple H and Rock, I guess we don't truly know who had a part in booking that whole WrestleMania 40 main event. Some people say The Rock, some people say Triple H, but whatever. The WWID program. I don't know if we can give full credit to Triple H, but I mean, who else we gonna give credit to? I think that's a good idea. Taking all the young indie stars, getting them under contract early, letting them spread their wings and not go directly to NXT, but get seasoning everywhere else. I think that's a great idea. They have record-breaking profits for 2024, Micah. I mean, compared to 2023, you thought it couldn't get any higher, but I guess we didn't factor in that they're gonna jack up the prices to every single live event they have, which kind of scummy, but I mean it's all about the money. So kudos to them there for making all that money. And the Netflix deal, Micah, the biggest deal they've ever pulled off. I mean, it's going to be more homes that will be able to watch Monday Night Raw than ever before. They're rolling that out in a couple weeks, and the global takeover that Triple H has spearheaded in this last year. Mike, how many international PLEs have we had this year?
I don't know off the top of my head. I know we got 2 Crown Jewel pay-per-views. We had Backlash in France. We had Bash in Berlin. We had
Survivor
Elimination
Series?
Chamber.
Survivor Series?
Survivor Series. That's 6 right there, but it's probably more closer to 8.
Yeah, man. It's a brilliant idea just to maximize profits by going to these international markets and having these excited crowds. They're just happy to have professional wrestling in front of them. And you charge them whatever you want. And you know they're going to make the most noise. They're going to make more noise than any American audience. And they are going to do that once again by having this historic run of international markets right before WrestleMania next year. Can you imagine how much they're going to pull in for that tour next year?
Which kind of the only thing I don't like about that is it's going to be on tape delay.
No. It was announced a couple days ago that Netflix is going to stream it live when it happens. So you're going to see Monday Night Raw on like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which they can do that now because they don't have to be beholden by the network anymore.
That's going to be weird.
Seeing Raw at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. I wonder the last time that's ever happened. Probably never.
No, never. I've never seen it. But yeah, they're gonna go to like 4 or 5 different markets right before WrestleMania.
I mean, yeah, I really don't have anything else to add, and I guess honestly this all ties into promotion of the year as well, which I think we can both go ahead and say we're going to give that to WWE because you basically just made all the points for promotion.
Oh
of the
yeah,
year.
I guess.
I mean,
yeah, I guess I have.
There's nothing. You said what?
I guess I have. Yeah, I did make all the points for promotion of the year.
Yeah, I mean, but it's all true, and there's nothing like really you can say about any other promotion. I mean, they're like TNA is doing better than they have in a long time, but the best, it's funny. The best way to encapsulate it all is that stupid WrestleMania commercial that they run for every show where Triple H literally goes, "Unless you've been living under a rock, the WWE is on fire right now," and then just feed. And that's all. That's all you have to know about WWE right now.
Yeah.
Look at the WrestleMania prices.
Oh man, it's insane. It's insane. It's pricing out a lot of people, pricing out a lot of hardcore fans. I don't like that, but it's all about the money. It's all about demand. So I understand. It just stinks, as a 9-to-5er such as myself, Micah. You can't really take the whole family to go see wrestling anymore.
Oh yeah, I mean, shoot. I'm not ashamed to admit we're still paying on daggone Bad Blood tickets.
Yeah, man. It's mostly all live events now, actually. Like just going to the movies.
Yeah.
If you want to buy, ticket to the movies for the whole family, how much are you going to pay for that? $150?
Easy.
Yeah.
And I mean, depending on how many kids you got, but it's easy for me and Hannah to go and spend $30 on tickets and then go spend $30 more on food.
Yeah.
If you got kids, that's an additional ticket, additional food. Like it's crazy. And I mean, there's government legislation being proposed about trying to come down on Ticketmaster, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, promotion of the year, WWE. Booker of the year, Triple H. I mean, that's probably the most easy, right down the middle call we could have made. And I hate to be this way, but especially when you look at AEW and just that people that have staunchly defended AEW for years are even starting to notice the cracks in the foundation. It says a lot.
Yeah. Bro, I mean, we'll talk about it later, but it's been a lot of people noticing cracks in the armor.
Yeah. But we move on to most underrated for 2024. Another one that I think I have given this guy the same thing every year, but I've got to once again go Chad Gable.
Oh wow. Okay. I wasn't expecting that.
I thought about Takeshita, but he got a belt.
Yeah.
And what really irked me about Chad Gable this year was they did all that to bring him into kind of the fold with Sammy, and they ran like 2 or 3 pay-per-views on the prospect that he's going to win the belt, and then he just doesn't. And the current thing on the internet is, people say it's politics. I don't know that was what went into it or not. And not, like Trump versus Kamala. Yeah. I mean, more like backstage politics.
That's what I was thinking. Wait a minute. What's Chad believing in backstage? What's he doing?
He's spreading QAnon propaganda in the backstage area. No, I've heard or seen people online saying that Sammy politicked his way into keeping the belt over Chad. And I don't know that that's true. But it felt like they were doing a lot to get him over. And even like Otis was getting crazy reactions in the middle of the year. And now look at him. Like the models are just there to do the ads in the middle of pay-per-views. And Gable's just there still to take a pin. And I just don't understand that after they put so much behind him at the beginning of the year.
He got a nice new contract at the beginning of the year too. You think all that stuff at the beginning of the year was just so he could sign his new contract?
I hate to be this way, but I wouldn't doubt it.
You see, he took another pin on SmackDown.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think the Creed's combination with Gable, I don't think that's been a winner so far. I hate to say it, man, but the Wyatt thing with Gable, I think that kind of dragged him down a little bit too.
Yeah, people were excited about it at first, but they took a very serious gimmick and combined it with a very unserious gimmick. I mean that the best way possible, but just those two things should not have crossed until they were both like very over. And Gable just wasn't there yet.
Yeah, I was about to say, was Gable and the Creeds ever going to get very over?
Gable was like he was getting some of the biggest reactions on Raw at the time. And now, he took a pin on SmackDown. I didn't even know he was on SmackDown.
Yeah, he showed up, confronted Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes challenged him, and he beat him all in one night. I'm not feeling the Creeds, man. I think the Creeds is driving him down. I'm not liking their overacting. I don't like that.
If I'm being honest, I haven't seen enough of them to tell you one way or the other.
They act too childish to me. I don't know. It's just not working for me. Feels like they don't have their own personality, so they're trying to be Nickelodeon jock bully type thing, and that doesn't work for me. I don't know who that works for, but somebody's telling them to act like that, and it's just not working.
It's working for. I hate to be this way. I wanted to mention it whenever you were talking about Sean a minute ago, but it slipped my mind. There is a subsection of fans, and you can very obviously see it on Twitter with fan accounts and just the general
I already know where you're going with this.
Just the general fandom for NXT.
Yeah. You like this? Yeah, you can. It's a lot of fans that like to laugh at wrestling. They want to treat it as comedy hour, and if you can make them laugh, you need a world title reign. That's why Chelsea
only
Green needs to be world champion, Mike. I don't know if you know this.
Oh God,
she makes everybody laugh.
I find her more entertaining than most women.
But still, though, man, if you can make somebody laugh, or I guess attempt to do comedy like Harley Cameron. I don't know who's finding that funny, but people online are saying that she needs to be world champion because she has improved so much with her character. Like, bro, what do people, am I just getting old, Micah? maybe I'm just getting more of a curmudgeon in my older age. But I don't find that type of stuff entertaining.
It's a big word.
Oh yeah, thanks, man. I had to.
I don't know what that means.
I had to, hit my word today for the Scoop Slam podcast. So,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess she can go tit for tat with the best of them, but
now.
I don't.
Wait a minute. I'd watch that now. Is that going to be on the show?
I might do some ratings.
Okay.
I think that the best thing I could say about all this is the other day Jesse Ventura trended on Twitter not only for being the announcer for Saturday Night's Main Event, but literally one of those accounts retweeted it and was like, "Who is Jesse Ventura?"
What? Were they being serious?
Yes.
Oh, come on, man.
And there was a lot of accounts that were like, yeah, who is this guy? Like there's a subsection of the NXT and the Stan accounts, and I'm not just talking about the pervs. I'm talking about like people that genuinely only know today's wrestling. And so that's why they think that like NXT is good, because it's entertaining and it's funny to them. And like they might be 13, but like I don't know, man. I grew up with like the greatest of WrestleManias, and like I wanted to know everything about wrestling, and that was the way my brain went. And these people are just like, I heart Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez and Chelsea Green, and those are my faves. And that's going in my bio, and like they don't know anything past 2005.
And they only know wrestling as Vince McMahon Comedy Hour, Monday Night Raw segments. Like the 2010 guest host era comedy segment type stuff. That's as far back as they go. And that's what they think wrestling has always been. And it hasn't. It really hasn't.
Oh. And people look back on that time with nostalgia. And like, I grew up with that. I get that to a point. But like, you got to go back and watch something else. And then you realize that the 2010s sucked.
Yeah.
Pond water.
And whether people like it or not, man, funny don't draw money. I'm sorry to tell you, funny don't draw money. Never has and never will.
And that's one of AEW's biggest problems. But back on track, Ryan, for most underrated, who you got?
I got Takeshita 2 years in a row, maybe 3 years in a row. I don't know. I don't remember who I had for our first Scoopies, but yeah, man, I think Takeshita is still the best in-ring worker that they have in AEW over Will Ospreay. Yeah, I said it. And I just think he's still in the same holding pattern he's been in for the last 2 years. Ever since he beat, was it Omega? I think he beat Omega at All Out last year.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I don't think he's really took a step forward in the pecking order of things. I mean, actually, I think Kyle Fletcher. Yeah, Kyle Fletcher. Yeah, I don't know, Felcher. Kyle Fletcher. I think he's taken a step forward more, and I think they're highlighting him more than they're highlighting Takeshita at the moment. So I think he surpassed his own stablemate, which I don't necessarily agree with. But yeah, man, it's Takeshita, once again, my most underrated guy.
Hold on a minute. Am I misremembering something? Didn't Takeshita win a belt?
He's the champion of the continent. He's the
Continental champion.
Yeah. No, I think that's Okada. Is he the international champion?
I thought that was Fletcher. I thought he beat Ospreay for that the other day.
Well, so Okada ain't got the title no more?
I don't know.
Takeshita has a title. I know that.
Yeah.
What?
Because he defended it against Ricochet.
Is that the All Atlantic title?
No, that's the international title.
Oh,
now.
Okay. I don't know.
But Jack Perry has the TNT.
You sure it ain't all
okay,
Atlantic?
So Takeshita has the international.
Okay.
I swear that I thought Kyle Fletcher won the title the other day.
Is he not champion?
No, I swear I thought he was
What
champion.
is he?
He's just there.
Okay, all right. He has a new haircut.
Yeah, but I do agree with you. Takeshita should definitely be main event scene. And even his title reign has kind of felt like it's taken a back seat.
Can you imagine if they would have brought him in, him being Takeshita, and gave him Shinsuke's push with Shinsuke's entrance? That'd be great.
Oh,
Man.
yeah.
That'd be great. Give him the backstage segments too.
Yeah, where he actually like talked.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like try to speak English, but
Yep.
like he could very well be over. He's over with that fan base. And if they would just give him TV time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This one I'm very interested to see what you have. Okay. Most overrated for 2024, Ryan.
Oh man.
There's a lot to choose from,
Yeah.
but I'm kind of hoping we went on the same train of thought, but I'll let you go first.
Man. Most overrated 2024. I'm going with MJF, man. This was not his best year. He was hardly ever there. He never had a true direction for 2024. Had one of the most convoluted feuds that is still ongoing with Adam Cole. And he just seems checked out, man. I think his shtick has run a little dry with his whole edgelord teenager type stuff, man. I don't know. I'm not feeling MJF. I think he needs to go away for a little while.
That's the problem. He's been away all year.
Okay, yeah, never mind. But don't you think this is running a little stale? You think MJF's run is kind of running a little stale in AEW?
No, I see your point. I just don't know where you go from here. Like you tried the American thing for a while, and then that didn't really do anything. And he just was babyface, so I don't know that you could do that. But like, I don't know. Like he was good for the time, 2021, 2022, because he was fresh. But at this point,
he's stale.
What about him is new? He's stale. And dude, I saw a video the other day from Punk and MJF's feud. He looks like he has aged like 10 years.
You mean you talking about MJF?
Yes.
His hairline got a little better. He went to that Norwegian doctor, got some hair implants.
And it looks like Punk has regressed 5-10 years.
Oh yeah, he looks good. Thanks to haircut. He looks more jacked.
But like I don't know, man. Like, and it's good he bulked up, but it's definitely not working.
MJF, yeah. I'm telling you, man, it's run stale. It's stale. He had no direction this whole year. And were you enthralled by any of his promos this year?
No.
I mean, some were good.
I don't think so.
I mean, the promo when he came back and dropped Adam Cole on his head, I thought that promo was good, where he said that he was done with all the brochacho stuff and all that was over. But then it wasn't over. Adam Cole came back. They just restarted this feud again.
Yeah.
And it's been more convoluted.
We'll get to that later.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure we will. It's been more convoluted week in, week out. And now they added in, who they add in? Roddy and Kyle O'Reilly. The guy, bro, they're reuniting the Undisputed Era again. These guys were losing. The Undisputed Era was losing to NXT, not NXT, to AEW when they were going head to head. NXT and AEW. Do you not remember that, Micah? Adam Cole was the main event guy in NXT. And when AEW Dynamite first debuted, they were going head to head every single week with NXT. And NXT would get beat regularly every single week by AEW. And who was the main event guy on NXT? Well, it was Adam Cole. It was Keith Lee. It was Kyle O'Reilly. It was Roderick Strong. It was Ricochet. It was all these other guys, man. And then they just brought them all in.
I mean, yeah. When you put it like that, like I don't like. What other results are you expecting from these guys?
And now they're 5 years older, and in Adam Cole's case, more sickly. I don't know, man. It's MJF. Getting back to MJF, I think most overrated. His 2024 has been really bad, and I can't. He's not far and away my number one wrestler under 30 now. So take that for what you will. But yeah, who you got?
And it's crazy. I think I had him as my my wrestler of the year last year.
Oh yeah, and you could say that. Yeah, last year he had a pretty good year, but this year, no.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got one foot out the door. It looks like.
For my most overrated, and I don't know because people are starting to go against this. I gotta go John Moxley, and he won it for me last year too. But I guess it just aggravates me that there's people that find him entertaining. I know that's bad. Like I know, like I shouldn't be aggravated by what other people find entertaining, but like I don't know, man. Something about him, it's never clicked for me. Even the Shield, like
come on.
I was okay with it, but he was the least.
You went too far now.
No. I don't think I did. Maybe he was better than Big Dog Roman Reigns, but that's not a high bar to jump over at the time.
Big Dog Roman Reigns.
Was that his name?
I just never heard anybody refer to him like that, Big Dog Roman Reigns. But yeah, I guess that was his gimmick.
No, but what I thought he was named like Big Dog or something like that.
He was the big dog, but nobody really said Big Dog Roman Reigns. I mean, that like Seth freaking Rollins, nobody said Big Dog Roman Reigns like that.
Okay, the bad thing is I said a joke like that the other day to somebody, and now I feel like even more of an idiot.
No,
I swear they called him that.
He was the big dog, but nobody uses whole God-given Christian name like that. Big Dog Roman Reigns.
The Big Dog Joe N.O.Y. Anyways, Moxley this year especially stinks of like just horrible death, roadkill. And I think they're aptly named the Death Riders because it stinks like death. And he's the world champion. That's the problem.
You know, I fought it as long as I could, man. But you know, I could probably just tell you my worst gimmick of the year. I gave it to Mox, and it's just I liked him in the Shield. I love Dean Ambrose. Let me start by saying I say that every time, but I did. I love Dean Ambrose. I think it was a horrible mistake that he left the company. But this whole Death Rider stuff, do you understand what this is about? Because I am still lost, and it's been 4 months since they threw a bag over Bryan Danielson's head.
There's something about AEW currently that pisses him off and disgusts him, but I don't know exactly what it is because at first I was like, okay, he's feuding with Private Party. They've been around for a long time and they haven't accomplished anything. And then like he's feuding with Cassidy, so I guess sort of the same thing. But then like he'll beat up on like Action Andretti and the JD Drake, and I'm like, okay, what do these guys have to do with anything?
What do they do?
And it's like,
what do they do?
I don't know. Like, what exactly is his problem with AEW? What exactly is he doing to better AEW? Because it looks like to me he's just smashing over every mid-carder and just ruining everybody else's push.
And what's the deal with Shafir? She hasn't been explained why she's hanging out with the Death Riders now. That still has been explained. She's been with them for...
Well, that's because we know her.
I thought we didn't know her.
Well, we didn't know her, but we do know her.
Well, be that as it may, what is she carrying around that briefcase for? We still don't know. I guess we do know. I don't know what's going on with the Death Rider stuff, man. But it
Stinks.
does. I thought we were getting Shane McMahon, but we're not getting that. So what are we doing here?
Can I segue this into my worst gimmick of the year?
Go ahead.
Mine was the Young Bucks takeover that they ran because it's just like this, except it makes no sense. And then they took this and said, you know what? Send it again. And they just repackaged it with Moxley.
You know what? If Moxley threw a bag over Tony Khan's head, I wouldn't hate that.
Hold on now.
If the Jag fans, they would probably love that too.
And the what's the Fulham?
Fulham. Hey, maybe Trevor Lawrence can join the Death Riders.
Oh God. Nah, they need to put that Texans linebacker on the Death Riders. Oh my God. He killed him.
Hey man, that's his fault.
But anyways, nah, come on. Anyways, getting back to the point. Yeah, I mean, the Young Bucks, all of this all year, like every single thing we're talking about has combined in a record worst year for AEW. In a year that they have accomplished some very good things. A new TV deal. They're going to Max. They still put 50,000 in the arena for All In. Like, there's still multiple things to be proud of. Sting's retirement was looked on very highly in, the fan base. But the highs are medium high and the lows are just painfully like Mariana's Trench low, like just insanely low. So at what point do we start to put the blame on the top guys like the EVPs that aren't there anymore, that ran this takeover angle that went nowhere? And Kenny's going to wrestle in Japan. And then you have Moxley, who was arguably one of their biggest signings. If you cut out Punk, because he's not still there, between him, Danielson, Jericho, and Adam Cole, which what I would say was probably all their big signings early on. Is Moxley really doing anything to further the company in 2024? I don't think so.
I think it's it's a detriment to the show. And going back to your worst gimmick when you said the Elite, the Young Bucks, bro, the story of the takeover never really got a resolution. They just showed a backstage segment of them shredding up papers, and that's supposed to be the payoff to the storyline, which was actually played up for laughs, because that's what we got to do here. Even if they're heels, Micah, we still got to play it up for laughs.
Yeah.
So
that's their whole motto.
Yeah. So
but
go ahead.
I was gonna say one last thing. They took what could have been a serious angle with the takeover and Tombstone or Pal driving Tony Khan, and they make it goofy. And then halfway through the year, they realize, you know what? Something like this shouldn't be goofy, but we can't do that, so we'll give it to Moxley. So now they've made it serious, except
nobody cares.
None of it makes sense, and nobody cares. Yeah. So to encapsulate all that, most overrated Jon Moxley, worst gimmick Jon Moxley, worst gimmick Young Bucks, and that's final for just all of that. We'll move on, and I guess we can go to the other end of the spectrum now for best gimmick of the year.
Ooh.
And we talked about this one on the mid-year awards. I still don't feel like anything has changed, but I do have an honorable mention. Honorable mention, Drew McIntyre.
Oh, hater of the year, Drew McIntyre.
Hater of the year. I thought he did a lot to revolutionize his career. We talked about it at the ride back from Royal Rumble because you and Hannah gave me crap for not liking Drew McIntyre at the time. But he took his staleness and completely reinvented himself and became one of the top dogs in WWE.
almost immediately after that car ride too. That Monday night.
Yeah.
He
The Punk injury changed things for him.
he said the famous line, "I prayed for this and it happened." Still a classic line.
And I mean, I'll definitely be saying his name again in the near future, but we'll get there when we get there. But the winner of this got to be the final boss.
Wow. Yeah. We're in agreement there.
I mean, the 15-minute Twitter videos, that was appointment viewing. You had to be there to watch those. And I was locked in every single time.
Yeah. It don't matter if he was ranting. Doesn't matter what he was talking about. I was locked in. I was on the edge of my seat. The Rock could take a Chinese takeout menu and read it out to you, and it'd be entertaining.
And I mean, that's kind of what he was doing. I mean, there was really not a lot of substance in those videos. Sometimes he was just talking.
Mama Rose. I don't know. He would say one-liners that would pop me.
And I don't know, just the beat down of Cody in the rain. That is such a classic Raw segment.
Yeah, probably one of the best Raw segments of the year and of the last decade. When he brought back the $5,000 shirts, man, you knew you were in for a special ride. And like you said on the Pat McAfee show, Micah, just sit back and enjoy the ride that the final boss is going to take you on. And he took us on a ride, and hopefully in 2025 we can get back on the train and we can ride into the best year in WWE's existence, because they got a lot of things stacked up for this next year in 2025.
Yeah, a lot of resolutions to come, but I don't know, just so much with The Rock, like the entrance, the new the old but new music, the entrance at Mania with like the fire Brahma Bull, like just so much about this gimmick was great. And it's probably the best work The Rock has done in his career.
And
somewhat.
You know what? We got to see it. We got to see it live.
We did. Yeah.
So I think that
there are very few wrestlers that could make me jump out of my seat like a child, and that right there was one of them, and that is exactly what happened when I heard the music.
Yeah, that was top of my bucket list. I got to see Rock, man. That was my number one guy growing up. Still my number one guy. And yeah, man, the final boss, best gimmick of the year by far.
Yeah. We'll move to, once again, a derogatory category, worst feud of the year.
See,
I'll let you take the reins on this one.
No, you know what? I'm gonna let you do this because you hit me with this last minute. It threw just a crowbar into my plans. I just didn't know where to go. There were so many feuds I could have picked from. So I want you to go first because I'm still, this is the 11th hour right here, Mike, and I'm still undecided. I need you to sway my vote.
Okay. There was a couple. There was obviously like the Moxley stuff, the Young Bucks stuff, but we've already talked about that. I thought that was too on the nose.
Okay.
I got to go MJF Adam Cole.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'll do it.
And I know it's recency bias maybe, but like, holy cow, dude. We started the year with this because of World's End. I would say like, you had the whole Undisputed Era thing or Undisputed Kingdom, which was an extension of this feud, and nothing really came of that. We've got Wardlow on the back of milk cartons.
Yeah, what did happen to him?
I don't know. You tell me.
Okay, right.
And then MJF returns. All this is over with.
And now back up, Micah. But before that, we got the reveal of the devil is Adam Cole. And now Adam Cole is portrayed as the babyface?
Yeah. Because, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Like, we've talked about it, obviously, on the show, but, like, none of it makes sense. Because he's the one that betrayed babyface MJF. And then Cole is now the sympathetic hero that you're supposed to cheer for because MJF became a prick again? And this is a full, like, we're fixing to come up on World's End. which I guess World's End last year would kind of factor into our awards for this year, considering we did the Scoopies before that. But like, this feud has almost been going off and on for a year now. This will be a year to the date. Why is this still going? Why have the roles reversed? And neither man is any further than they were at the start of last year or at the start of this year.
I think they're further down. I think definitely when you look at Cole, I know people pop for the entrance, but I think Vince was onto something when he wanted to make him a manager. I'm sorry. I just can't. Just the state of Adam Cole, man. It just looks like he's giving up.
Yeah. I mean, what? And then we've already talked about MJF. I don't really think there's much more to say about either guy other than.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do with either of them going out of this? Whoever wins.
I hope you would get them new spray tan guys because it's not looking too good, man. Adam Cole looks like a Simpsons, man. Have you been noticing their spray tans? Like, are they getting spray tan like right before their music hits? What's going on here?
I saw the one where Cole moved his knee pad down. He didn't have spray tan on his knee pad or on his knee, and I was like,
Did he get a spray tan in his gear?
Probably put that daggone bronzer on backstage.
He was wearing his gear to get a spray tan.
And I'm all for spray tans and looking big and like make it. It's what did Cody say? It's an image business.
It is, yeah.
And so that's a big deal. But like MJF has done strides and Cole is not, and I can't buy that Cole would beat MJF. And I really am not buying to see them want to fight. Like, I don't know. There is so many things. And that's what I'm saying. I prefaced this whole show, and you did too, with I'm really not trying to just give everything to WWE. But holy crap. Like, genuinely, outside of maybe like Osprey and some of the Swerve stuff, and I can nitpick some of the Swerve stuff, I just don't know what has gone good for them this year.
It's not much
on screen.
Yeah, it's not much, bro. It's if you're looking at it, if you're trying to base it off basketball terms, Mike, it's like looking at the Oklahoma City Thunder side by side with the Washington Wizards. I mean, you're not trying to be ugly to the Wizards, but when you're giving out awards for best player and best defenders, I mean, it's all going to go to the Thunder, of course. I mean, it's just how it is. We're not trying to be ugly, but that's just the reality of the situation. We don't get participation trophies here on the Scoop Slam podcast.
Nope.
And you said you can't believe Cole could beat MJF. I could believe he could beat MJF in like Street Fighter or Tekken or any one of those video games.
That was a good one. I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Do you watch his Twitch channel streams type things? Do you watch that?
I mean, I'm not hating on him for it, but it's just I don't really watch people play video games. Just not for me.
Who actually sits there and donates to streamers? Who does that?
Oh, well,
NPCs?
I can't say anything because I would love for someone to donate money to us on TikTok Live.
Well, that's beside the point. Not us, but if you're watching, I don't know.
Yeah, but these other schlubs, like what do you gain from giving these guys money?
Kai Cenat. What are you gonna give Kai Cenat $2? What? I mean, he's just gonna blow right past your donation.
I do like Kai though. I can't.
Yeah.
But did you have a worst feud, or do you want to take the lead on feud of the year?
I'm just gonna co-sign what you just said because I might have said the Wyatts versus heck anybody actually. The Wyatts, bro, they disappointed me this year. Not enough to win most overrated, but I had such high hopes from when they first showed up, and just the state of them right now, they have definitely taken a step back as far as fan reactions and fan feedback online. I don't know if this is gonna last into 2025.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily a fan myself. The hype died down. And I mean, I hope the best for him, but
Yeah.
we shall see. But feud of the year, Ryan. This is a big one. And I think we may also have the same answer. But Ryan, feud of the year for 2024, who you got?
It was such a well built up feud. And it was a feud that happened on screen. You know, some big feuds happen. You got to follow the dirt sheets to understand the references and stuff like that. But Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, that is something that happened on screen, and then the feud just built from there. They didn't have to throw sly little digs to each other about references on Twitter or someone's dead parent or something like that. They didn't have to do any of that. They built up their feud all on screen, all through promos, and they had two basic matches leading up to a third great match, and that's old school wrestling. Yeah, Drew versus CM Punk, that's my feud of the year, and I don't come close to something. It might have been CM Punk's best WWE feud, honestly. Like it's definitely top 3.
Yeah. It's you got to give a nod to John.
I just didn't like that.
Partial.
I didn't like that John never put him over clean. I didn't like that.
He did in Chicago, didn't he?
That wasn't clean. He got distracted by Vince and Laurinaitis.
That's true.
He never beat him clean, ever, which always made me so mad, bro. Like, dang, just give my man a win. Indisputable.
Well, that was the time period, though.
Well, you know, people love John Cena, but the MFer can't ever lose clean, which, yeah, well, I digress.
I would also throw the Punk Hardy feud in there just because I really enjoyed it as a kid. But this, like, as someone who now knows like way more about wrestling, this was just great. And I really don't think I can add anything to what you said. I enjoyed the strap match a lot more than a lot of people did. And you know, you've got your detractors that, oh well, they were feuding over a bracelet. That is surface level knowledge. Anyone who genuinely like pays attention to the shows knows that it was more about just a bracelet. There was way more to this feud. And if you're just talking about it being a bracelet, you're just trying to find something to nitpick.
Yeah.
And lastly, the internet has largely taken a lot of things away from wrestling. The dirt sheets are now, you know, so much more prevalent. Anything that is botched or missed is very easily spottable for the people to say, oh, well, it's fake, it's scripted, yada, yada. But the best feuds are feuds that play out on screen and then give you things on the dirt sheets on Twitter to pay attention to. For instance, I remember Drew sharing a picture of him and Jack Perry in an airport, which you don't have to know what happened on the TV screen, you know, because it didn't play into anything that happened on the TV screen. You don't have to know that got uploaded to Twitter. But for the people that know, that's like a little tidbit, you know, that's funny. And that's the perfect use of the internet. Don't give your feud away and make sure it makes sense on TV, but drop little tidbits in for people that do follow the stuff to be like, oh man, he got him. Like, this might really set Punk off backstage. That's the magic of wrestling, and you can do it on screen and on the internet. But I really don't think I don't know. It's crazy. 2022, my favorite feud was Punk and MJF. 2024, you've got this. I'm excited to see what the future holds for CM Punk, and we'll get to that a little later as well. But Ryan, next up, we got to go, you know, back and dig in the ditches. worst match of the year. What you got?
You know, you said earlier recency bias. I mentioned this last week on the podcast when we were reviewing Survivor Series that this match might win my worst match of the year. Easy for me to say. And it was the women's war games, man. I just think that was a really, really bad garbage match with too many moving parts, and it looked way too choreographed, way too many trash cans, way too many standing around waiting on stuff. I think the women's war games match is gonna win worst match for me.
Once again, Ryan, we seem to agree on things.
I thought you were gonna go Jay and Jimmy.
That's my honorable mention.
Okay.
And it was very, very bad. And I was genuinely excited to see that match. And I thought, what a cool moment for two brothers at WrestleMania. And they crapped the bed.
But was it that it was a bad match, or it just wasn't the match that you thought they should have?
I think it was a little bit of both. I don't think obviously there wasn't just like a ton of botches or, this, that, and the other, but the super kick spam, and obviously you want more, but I can't comprehend how you could put that on paper and be like, yeah, this is a good match. But it wasn't just like egregious like the women's war games.
I think they were going for more of an emotional type match where it's a lot of talking and a lot of cinema in the match, but it just didn't work because the audience wasn't reacting. I know it was cold, quote unquote, in the stadium that night, but yeah, the audience just didn't care. And they probably should have had a different type of match. Like maybe they should have like a street fight or something. I think it could have worked. War street fight.
Yeah, that probably would have helped just because it could have been more of a crutch for them. But yeah, you said everything that I could have said about the women's war game match. But that moves us to our next category. We had the lows, we got to go to the highs now. Ryan, match of the year. I know we've talked a lot about Punk versus Drew at Bad Blood. And I got that for my honorable mention. And it was very good. It's my favorite, Punk match, I think, since he's returned outside of the dog collar match. Probably one of the greatest Hell in a Cell matches of all time, but I just don't think it gets any better than Cody versus Roman.
Even with all the run-ins?
I think that's part of the spectacle. Like, very rarely... I don't know how to explain it. It's not nervousness, but like you get like a feeling like I got to sit up and watch this one. Like you don't know what's going to happen, but whatever happens is going to be crazy. And not in like oh my God, somebody's going to jump off the roof. Like you just knew this was it. Like this was the pinnacle, it's the be all end all. That's why they call it WrestleMania. And I think like the forces aligned on this one night. I can go and see myself watching this match again. And the same is for Punk versus Drew, but like you said it best earlier, this was a series finale for WWE, and I think it is just a great match.
It's hard to top the spectacle of that match, true, but as far as in-ring work with no outside interference, sure it had all the garbage and the toolboxes and stuff like that in the Punk and Drew match. But I think as a in-ring matchup, I think I would give the nod to Punk and Drew. And it's gonna win my match of the year, honestly, because it's probably my favorite Hell in a Cell of the last 20 plus years. They spaced out the blood aspect so well, because we haven't had blood actually in a Hell in a Cell match, Micah, in a very long time. Well, I think we had it in a Finn Balor Edge match, but that match stunk. But this match beat all the CM Punk washed allegations. And it just showed all those internet jabroni marks that said Punk was a fragile, had a fragile body, fragile mind. He just showed all the haters wrong right then and there. And yeah, man, proved that in his big old age of 45, 46 years old, that he can still have a 5-star classic, which I think it did get 5 stars from Meltzer, which, take that for what you will.
As much as I don't like going off his metrics, it is rare for him to give it to WWE and especially give it to CM Punk. That's how you know it was a good match.
Yeah.
And I do agree, like, man, Punk is like creeping up my all-time list and he might be my favorite of all time. And we were there live. Like, I will forever love that match and remember being there. It's just, I don't know. It's 1A, 1B, honestly. Like, I don't hate your answer at all. And if you ask me tomorrow when I woke up, I may say Punk versus Drew. But, like, Cody and Roman just, I don't know, man. Even with all the run-ins, like, it makes you feel something. And very rarely do wrestling matches make you feel something, which Punk versus Drew does too. But we move on to Best Weekly TV Show. And I don't know that this, I don't know how deep this conversation will really even go. But Ryan, Scoopy, Best Weekly TV Show, what you got?
Yeah, bro, I went back and forth with this because I think Raw had the better show for the first couple months. Or no, I think it was neck and neck with Raw and SmackDown the first couple months of 2024. And then just SmackDown kind of turned into a nothing show when Cody won the title. Like, it felt like SmackDown had no top baby faces besides Cody. And I think that hurt SmackDown a lot, especially because, bro, you had LA Knight there as U.S. champion for 3 or 4 months, feuding with the likes of Santos Escobar and Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. Bro, they had a best of 7 series with Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. And LA Knight just basically won their best of 7 series. Like, I don't know, man. SmackDown was not the best show for the second half of 2024. So I think I'm going to give the nod to Monday Night Raw, which is crazy to say, but they went to 2 hours a couple months ago. That's been doing well as far as my viewing habits because I've been watching consistently the 2-hour version.
Agreed.
And they've had a bunch of great moments on Monday Night Raw. Like you said earlier, the Rock beatdown of Cody Rhodes in the rain outside his bus. That was a great moment. The CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins promo exchange.
Oh,
I don't know if you remember. Yeah, that was some great stuff. They had a lot of good matches on Raw. I think Sammy and Gunther had a really good match. Chad Gable had some good matches at the beginning of the year. Raw was been consistently a good show, man. I mean, if we just had Raw and no other weekly wrestling shows to review or talk about or watch, I think we would have a perfect product right now.
And two, like, a lot of the guys we talked about, Bronson Reed, like, he came up on Raw, and him destroying Seth was a huge segment. Drew's rise, all on Monday Night Raw. So, like, just so many of the moments this year outside of, like, the Bloodline has been on Raw. And I don't know, I think 2 hours definitely helped, but down the stretch, Raw has really pulled away.
Yeah. 3-hour Raw because I've been loving this 2 hours, man.
Yeah, and I hate we're going to 3-hour SmackDown too.
Well, it hasn't been confirmed yet. It's been a lot of very reputable sources saying it, so I don't know.
But hopefully they're wrong.
Hopefully they're wrong. The dirt sheet's been wrong a lot in 2024.
Yeah, that's true. Ryan, again, I hate to say it. I think we're going to agree on this one. But for 2024's worst booking decision, I got to go airing the CM Punk footage.
What are you reading my notes here, pal? What's going on?
Maybe somebody slipped them to me. I don't know. and I hate to be this way because I know this is what everybody says, but in the grand scheme of things, in 20 years, if we get an AEW documentary,
The rise and
there will be an episode on CM Punk, and there will be an episode
the whole series.
on basically, and there will be an episode about airing this footage and what went through people's minds. And like, I saw somebody on Twitter, I wish I was creative enough to take the credit for this, but somebody compared it to the death of Christ in a way that hold on, just follow me okay. Because I promise, like, I would not say something like that because I'm a very, very godly man. Like, I love Jesus, but more in the sense that, like, you know how there's a BC and an AD. There is a before Punk and an after Punk in WW or in AEW, and so I'm not. Please do not think I'm comparing CM Punk to Jesus Christ. I do not mean that in any negative way. Like, I promise you, I am like, I don't mean it that way. Now I'm fumbled up on myself.
I got you.
Somebody was like, you genuinely can see the difference.
Look, the crowd and the buildings.
Yes, well, not only that, but just the booking. Like, people were going back after that New Day segment and like looking at the way things were booked and structured, and things had meaning, and there wasn't just people here for 6 months and then they're not here for 6 months. Like, everything changed, and that is like the focal point. You can see it in the viewers, the ratings, like everything. And so I cannot understand the thought process behind why they did that in the first place. And it was short-term gain, long-term
disappointment. Well, I can see what they were thinking, Micah. At the time, they were trying to give Jungle Jack Perry this, badass type gimmick where he takes no BS from anybody backstage. He even stood up to the big bully CM Punk. But by airing that footage, how they aired it, especially because online people were saying, coming out of the Ariel Helwani interview, that Punk was a liar, and that's probably not how the actual altercation worked. But then when you see the footage, and I think I saw a Twitter video or X video of CM Punk talking about it, and they spliced it together where the footage was happening at the same time he was telling the story. And it was pretty much how Punk said it. It was pretty much what went down. Yep. And it validated all of Punk's points right then and there. And it just made Jungle Jack look like a little PB, you know what I'm saying? It just, you can definitely see the ratings take a hit right after that. I mean, they got a good bump the night of, but then consistently throughout, they have not reached that number at all throughout the whole entirety of 2024, which is crazy to think about because they had 700, 800,000 they were doing consistently for about a good year or two, and now they're barely scratching 500,000. So where are we going to be next year, Micah?
And I mean, what have they gotten past that number that they hit for that one episode?
Oh yeah, you know what? We didn't even think about this, but they're going to Max. They're going to Max, and they're going to be definitely they're going to take a ratings downgrade. But I don't know if Max is ever going to report the actual numbers of who's watching the show live through their service. So I don't know, man. Let me ask you a question real quick, Micah, and then we can probably move on. Do you think CM Punk is AEW's biggest accomplishment as far as signings go, and he's simultaneously the worst signing they've ever had?
Yeah, I think both things are somehow true. Which is crazy, but like, yeah. I just don't. Who else would you say move the needle more?
move the needle more and cause more headache for them online and fan perception goes too.
Yeah. Let me ask you if you remember off the top of your head, because I'm looking at the yearly chart. Did they air that around like February, March?
It was March because it was coming out of the Ariel Hawani interview.
Okay, then I wonder if that no, because this is like mid-January that their highest was. But if this other bump is that episode, then that is the second highest they did all year. So that tells you right there that things are just not on a good turn. But regardless, we will move on. And please, I was not comparing CM Punk to Jesus. I was more talking about BC versus AD. So please don't clip that and just cook me online. But regardless, we'll move to the next category where I'll let you start us off, Ryan, for most shocking moment of the year.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk about this a couple weeks ago, Micah, but I got the New Day breaking up. This was a payoff to a 10-year-long storyline. 10 years of the New Day. They had the anniversary show, and you thought they were going one way. You thought Woods was going to turn his back on Kofi. You thought Kofi maybe was going to turn his back on Woods. And then we didn't get that at all. We got Kofi and Xavier straight up telling Big E how they feel about him. Which I don't know if you were calling that beforehand, but I don't remember seeing anybody predict something like that happening.
No, I think I thought as like along with everybody else that like either Xavier was gonna turn and maybe like Big E would side with him, or Kofi would stay, babyface, and Big E would stay with him, or they'd all just reunite and we'd get Big E, is cleared. But oh my God, we didn't get any of that. And then it was just like I put something out on Twitter. Like it was like watching your favorite UFC fighter, like where they're getting cooked in like the third round of their championship match, and you like know this is the end, like, but you can't do anything. You just have to sit there and watch them just get decimated over and over again.
But it was
brutal.
It was brutal, but the New Day, were they actually wrong in their assessment of how things were? Because Big E has been a part of the pre-show panel for a very long time now, Micah, and he couldn't have showed up to any of these PLEs and gave Woods and Kofi a stern talking to, or come out for one of their matches. What kind of friend just shows up last minute when they were about to jump over the edge and tries to pull him back to the shore? I just don't understand. He's a bad friend. I think he deserved that verbal chastising. 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 Yeah. Thank you, Micah. Thank you. It's getting late. Yeah, I think he deserved that.
Again, something up with these notes, but I also had most shocking moment, and you also swayed.
Talk about that.
Yeah. And you also swayed me into believing that they were kind of just in doing this to Big E. But like, I really couldn't think of anything just like crazy shocking this year, along with the fact that we didn't get to talk about it. And also, the New Day has really meant nothing all year.
Oh, for the last 7 years, you mean?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like this did numbers, like on Twitter, on YouTube, everything. Like people cared about this. And I think that goes to show that it really was something that meant something to people. And I only hope that they build off of it. Regardless if E can come back or not, if it furthers Kofi and Woods, then that's a good thing. And yeah, I don't think anybody expected this. And it may be a little bit of recency bias too, but that's okay.
Yeah, but yeah, man, the New Day breakup, I definitely didn't expect expect this. In the year 2024, I didn't expect New Day to have most shocking moment, actually, but here we are.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, Ryan, because next up, we got best on promos. And I think we may differ on this one. I don't know. Personally, for my Scoopy of 2024, best on promos, I got to give it to Drew McIntyre. And that held from the mid-year awards. And even though he's been gone, I just don't think I've been wowed by anybody except him all year. Like, I think there has been strides through some people. Like,
Solo Sikoa?
yes,
Oh, for
Solo
real?
stepped up big time.
I was just playing, but okay. All right.
No, I mean, I'm being for real. Like, he's definitely more charismatic now than he was at the start of the year. Jacob Fatu is not somebody that gets a lot of promo time, but when he does, it's a home run.
Do you love Solo, Micah? Have you taken time out of your day to love Solo?
I did. I wake up in the morning,
Yep.
I pray,
You do?
and then I put a finger to the sky to my tribal chief and yell that I love Solo. It wakes Hannah up, but
It's got to be done every day.
got to be done.
Yep.
It's like taking a bath.
Oh yeah.
But for an
What?
honorable mention,
Okay. You going with Mina Shirakawa?
oh God, no.
You don't you don't want Mina, Micah. Is that what you're telling me?
No, not me.
Well,
I think I gotta go Gunther.
okay. All right. Okay. I'm not hating that. I think Gunther is very underrated on the mic.
I think he's come a long way. And I think that really, I don't know. I haven't loved his world title run, but I wouldn't say that his in-ring year this year is as good as it was last year. It's not bad, but you understand what I mean? Like, he hasn't had just knock out the park, just great matches. But his character has been more interesting this year. And so I think he at least deserves a nod here.
I think Ludwig is you think he's a dark horse for next year?
I don't know about best on promos, maybe most improved, but we'll see what happens.
Best entrance. Is he gonna win that? Most
I don't know. Is the
oiled up.
final boss coming back?
Well, I don't know if the final boss has anything on that gesticular head movement that Ludwig Kaiser does on his entrance. I don't know.
Is that what they call it?
Have you ever seen the beginning of his entrance? Do you watch his matches?
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right. So you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I just don't know. I don't know what you would refer to it as.
Does he put on a whole bottle of baby oil when he comes out? Why is it so oily? What's going on?
I don't know. He also him and Maxine have if you turned him sideways, they'd have the thickness of paper.
He's cut though. I'll give him that.
He is. He's just weirdly thin. I don't know. Not an Adam Cole thin, but just
oh no,
his proportions. But
weird.
anyways, Ryan, best on promos. Who you got? I don't even know. How I got on this topic.
I don't know. I'm going with the final boss. You know that.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. What? You disagree?
No, I agree. I forgot about that.
You forgot about the final boss, Micah? Final boss.
I didn't think he was here enough.
He's been here. I don't care if he's here one day a year. He could work Santa Claus and work 365 days a year. He's the best on promos. Then, now, and forever. Final boss, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Into an honorable mention for me.
Well, it'll be my honorable mention and my winner. How about that?
Okay, well, just taking up both spots. I don't know. I think Drew came a long way, especially for me hating on him in the car.
Yeah, I like Drew.
Now this is where it starts to get difficult. This is the part of the ballot that I really struggled on picking. And I don't even know that we have to explain this pick. Tag team of the year.
I'm gonna let you take this one.
No, I think I'll let you have this one.
Okay. Who's the champs right now?
Judgment Day.
Still?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Motor City Machine Guns is my pick. How about that?
Okay, I don't hate that at all. I also thought about that.
I think they were TNA tag champions at the beginning of the year. So, I mean, how many other tag teams can say that? They held TNA tag titles and the WWE tag titles in one calendar year.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. I think again I have to go off my mid-year awards. I think by default we have to say the Judgment Day, right? Like they've held the titles the longest.
I just don't care for them anymore. I think they've run I think they're past the expiration date, Judgment Day, of me caring. I mean, I like Dom. I enjoy what him and Liv do from week to week, and Raquel is a nice addition, but I like Carlito. But what I'm saying, Micah, is I do not like Finn Balor and his jabroni counterpart. JD McDonough has his moments, but all in all, y'all can just leave. Y'all can just let them do what they do. Hopefully Dom gets a singles opportunity in 2025 away from Judgment Day.
Yeah, that would probably be best. And they're talking about a singles push for Finn at this point, but I mean, come on. It's already it's done. There's nothing you can do for him.
There's people that love Finn Balor online.
I just don't get it. I've never been wowed by the guy, and
you know how long he's been there?
Probably like 15 years at this point.
No, not that long, but still, he's about to celebrate a decade in the company. And Micah, I cannot name anything he's done of note besides winning the Universal title in his first month. After that, it's just kind of been he's just been there, you know.
Yeah.
I can't name any other memorable thing that he's done.
I mean, we call him Penn Balor for a reason. He won't win on pay-per-view.
It ain't that. He's just not. He's just kind of bland. If he doesn't have the face paint or the body paint, he's just bland to me.
Yeah, I tag team wrestling, like one thing about AEW too, their tag roster was so loaded like 2 or 3 years ago. And now, dude, it is slim pickings of both companies. Like,
well, they have teams. They just don't care about booking them anymore. They rather book tournaments and comedy feuds.
And I just don't like. I think Motor City Machine Guns can be good, but who are they going to feud with?
Well, they lost the titles.
Yeah, I saw that.
The DIY. So I guess they're feuding with DIY now. And the Street Profits. The Street Profits been doing some good work last couple weeks.
I do like them. I wish more was done with them, but I don't know. Anyways, we'll move on to another one I had to grasp at straws for. Female MVP.
Wait, did you say Judgment Day were your tag team of the year?
Yeah, I mean by default, I guess.
Okay.
Just because they've held the belt the longest, but
okay. All right.
Female MVP. Again, like, oh my god, I can't justify this pick outside of just being the champion and being on the show. And I think she's been interesting for some of the year, and she's kind of had a career resurgence. But Liv Morgan, I would say, is the female MVP. The in-ring work is not good against anybody but Rhea, and even then, it's not great. But the character with Dom is like the bimbo heel girl who took the girl and took the girl's build, and she stole everything from Rhea. I think it's more over than most women, and I think she has more drawing ability than anybody else on the card outside of Rhea. So for that, female MVP. But I don't feel good about that pick.
How much of that is Dom though?
Yeah. Probably
I
like
think
70.
yeah, I think it's a lot. That's my pick too, but I think if you take Dom away from that act, I think I would have a completely different answer here. But yeah,
But
Liv, yeah.
I like who the problem is, and we got Women's Wrestler of the Year to go to too, and I'll spoil it. It's not Liv for me, but like who else is there to pick from?
You got Mina Shirakawa, Micah.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying,
You need
she
to
said,
leave.
well, she says that all the people online are saying we want Mina, so there's a fan base there, Micah.
Is there? Yeah, it's about 500,000 deep, judging by the the Dynamite ratings.
She's something. She knows her audience, I'll say that.
Yeah.
She's there for the Gooners. But yeah, man, I Liv, the Codebreaker merchant, is gonna win the MVP from us. But when you look at the lineup, who we had to choose from, well, you had to pick somebody.
Yeah. I mean, you could have
Congrats.
thrown a dart at half of them, and I'm like, sure. I mean, it's not been a good year for tag wrestling, and it has not been a good year for women's wrestling. I don't care what anybody says, at least in the United States. I don't know about Sari and Joshi Pro. I don't know about none of that. But for U.S. women's wrestling, it has not been a good year. I don't care what anybody says.
Has Jordan Grace done anything? I haven't been following TNA.
Yeah, I'll ask my guy Dolph. He'll get back to me.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, you got Dolph on speed dial.
Yeah. Following that, we've got male MVP, and Ryan, I'll let you take the reins on this one.
I don't see how you can say anybody but Cody Rhodes, just by his in-ring work. Has been pretty solid this year overall. I mean, he's had some paint by the numbers match, but his match with AJ Styles, great. His match with Roman Reigns, WrestleMania, great. His match with Gunther at Crown Jewel, even though it was up, and I'm hoping they do something, do thing, and put Kevin Owens. But yeah, man, I think Cody Rhodes, as far as MVP goes, he's in a way, the number one choice. Because if you take Cody Rhodes away, do they have the success? Maybe. But he is the number one guy, and they are having record-breaking profits this year, they being WWE. So I don't think anybody but Cody.
No, I agree with you. I had the same answer because all the reasons you listed. I mean, the merch, the people love him. He's the guy. He is the face right now. I mean, and regardless of if I really care about him, I like him. He's not my favorite person. Like, I don't turn the TV on to see Cody, but there's a lot of people that connect with him and love him, and that's their guy. And for them, I'm happy. But business is booming largely in part to the bloodline and largely in part to Cody Rhodes. So I also had him for male MVP. Again, I don't know. Female Wrestler of the Year.
Yeah. You want me to go first, or?
I'll go first on this one. I'll let you go first
Okay.
on Men's Wrestler of the Year.
Okay.
It's funny because I judge this solely off, and it's the same thing I did for the Judgment Day, and it's not what I'm doing the Men's Wrestler of the Year for. But statistically, regardless of the in-ring, I still think it kind of has to be Nia. Like, she obviously is not good in the ring. I mean, the War Games match, we compared her chair shots to Hogan. The ring work, I know, not there. Bad, I know. But statistically, she's held the women's championship for most of the year. She has kind of been involved in a main storyline on SmackDown with Tiffany. She won the Queen of the Ring. And she does get a pretty good, like, negative reaction as a heel. And I just don't, like, again, I don't know who else to pick from. Rhea has not been here for most of the year, or for at least a good portion of the year. She hasn't held a title. She just had her first match on TV in, like, 10 months. So, what? Yeah, I saw a stat. That she had a match on Raw that was, like, her first TV match in, like, 9 months.
Wow. That's crazy.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, who else is there to pick from? Tiffany Stratton? Maybe. I even thought about going to NXT and getting Roxanne Perez, but like, if I'm being honest, I don't watch enough of her to say she's the women's MVP. So, and it's not, I'm sorry, I did not like the Toni Storm gimmick. Mariah May has not done anything all year, and Mercedes Moné is driving people away. So, who else is there to pick from?
Well, you could have picked Sasha. She's had some pretty good matches with dang,
yeah,
the girl's name escapes me. Statlander. And Willow. Didn't she have a match with Willow? Am I imagining that? Yeah, I thought that was pretty decent.
So, is that your pick for Women's Wrestler of the Year?
No. Oh, no. I was going to pick Rhea, but then you just hit me with, she has had a singles match on TV in 9 months. And I had to rethink my award here. Yeah, I guess we got to go with Nia again, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, there's no like real good answer. I put a poll out on Twitter, and it didn't necessarily get like a ton of traction or anything, but the picks were Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax, Mercedes, and Liv got the most votes. But like, I can't confidently put it on Liv because what has she really done?
Well, she stole Dom Dom, and she had a lot of code breakers, Micah. A lot of code breakers.
Yeah.
She got Raquel now. She got Raquel.
Okay.
And she's friends with the Judgment Day. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, crown her.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's not a lot of, like you said, not a lot of choices we could have picked from.
Yeah. Well, we'll come upon our last category, which is Men's Wrestler of the Year. And Ryan, I'll let you do the honors of starting us off.
Yeah, I think I had the same guy for my middies, and I think I'm gonna go with Gunther, man. He's had some really good matches throughout this whole year against Sammy, against Priest at Survivor Series. I thought that was pretty good. His match with Priest at SummerSlam was decent too. I think we had a couple botches, but yeah, man, Gunther had some good to great matches with pretty much all his opponents. He rarely has a stinker of a match. He has the match that he should have every time he steps in the ring. He doesn't go 35 minutes with Dom Mysterio where he kicks out of everything. That's not the match that Gunther has, and that's not the match that you expect Gunther to have. And he's been world champion for a good 5-6 months now, Micah.
Yeah.
He had an Intercontinental Championship reign this year. He's been champion. I saw a stat on X or Twitter, or I forget where I've seen this, but he's been champion for 76% of his whole WWE run.
Good God.
How crazy is that?
I mean, they've always thought highly of him. I don't blame him either. I mean, he deserves it.
No, actually, it's 78% of his WWE run. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Good God. And it keeps going up the longer he holds a belt.
Yeah. Even in NXT UK, he was champ pretty much immediately when he got there. So, and he just signed a new contract with WWE. I don't know if you've seen that. So he's getting some top guy money now, which is well deserved because Gunther he's the man on Raw right now. It's hard to put anybody above him. Maybe CM Punk, but yeah, man, I think Gunther is the male wrestler of the year.
Not a bad pick. I went back and forth with that and the guy that I chose. And for whatever reason, I went completely against the grain and avoided stats because the guy really don't have a lot of them this year, but you would not believe this if you'd asked me in January. For my men's wrestler of the year, I've got Drew McIntyre.
Wow. Wrestler of the year?
I think so. I kind of feel like Gunther's reign has been just a hair stale because he's been feuding. He's been in the middle of the Judgment Day crap, and that has just weighed him down. I don't think it's any fault of his own.
You just hate the Judgment.
You said what?
I say you just hate the Judgment Day, huh?
Well, I gave him an award. They can like that, but it's like a sinkhole, and I don't think he is standing tall out of it. Cody has had a good year, but outside of a couple things, he's kind of just been there, especially in SmackDown, and that's kind of, we've already talked about that. But I don't know, like Drew, whatever he's done all year has pretty much felt important. He did have a world title run, great segment at Mania, great feud with CM Punk, and in between that, he had great matches. He had a match with Damian Priest that I thought was really good, where Punk screwed him out of the title at Clash, and a lot of people were pissed about that. Obviously, coming out of Royal Rumble, he won the Elimination Chamber. All that leading into the title picture, beats Seth, gets cashed in on, but then like just the whole year-long saga has been such a big turnaround for Drew that even without the belts, I feel like he has been the most consistent wrestler of the year.
As far as, okay, but in-ring work, what do you, what's his top matches in your opinion? Hell in a Cell match?
Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah.
Strap match. I thought the match that he and Seth had was pretty good, even if it was kind of short, but it was like just kind of banger, match. Cause I remember he came out and hit his finisher. Him and Damian, like they were weird, but they weren't bad matches due to his fault. It was kind of like a couple things that Damian did, but just kind of botched the matchup. I think he had a match with Sammy in the main event of Raw during WrestleMania season that was really good.
Yeah, I think
if I'm remembering correctly. But he's been a major player all year, and I'm not saying like you're wrong for the Gunther pick, but I think Drew has just meant more to me this year. And this year as a whole, I mean, going down for what we just went for, it's kind of one of those like Dean Malenko years where is there really a surefire pick for any like male, female tag? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and things are hot right now, but you just can't nail down a wrestler of the year. Yeah, I get you. As far as the Drew pick, I think it makes sense because as far as total package, mic work, charisma, in-ring, I think Drew probably is the best all-around guy as far as all that, if you take all that into effect. But yeah, man, I just think Gunther as world champion, you just gotta give him a nod over Drew McIntyre. But and I respect the pick.
Yeah. But like I said, it's a Dean Malenko year where it's like, well, who are we really gonna pick? And then Dean Malenko gets wrestler of the year. I think that was 98.
That shouldn't have happened at all. That should have been Steve Austin, but come on now.
Well, I don't think he worked enough for their criteria or whatever.
Oh, God. Oh, he didn't have enough 20-minute bangers.
Yeah, you know Dave and his star system.
I can't name any matches Dean Malenko had in '98, but I can name a bunch of Steve Austin matches.
Well, you got me there, and I remember who was on top during that time, and it wasn't Dean Malenko. But anyways, we are running a little long, so Ryan, I'll quick fire my predictions real quick if you want to do the same. But here, we do this every year. We got 3 bold predictions for 2024. For 2025, I'm sorry. I got CM Punk will hold gold for most of 2025.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Orange Cassidy wins the AEW World Title.
Oh, man. Don't wish that on us. Why are you wishing? Do you want us to stop watching? Is that what you're... Is that why this is your prediction? You just want to stop watching?
I plead the 5th.
Okay.
And lastly, no, I really just got a feeling. I got a sick feeling about it. Lastly, we get one last Stone Cold Stunner on The Rock.
Oh, okay. In Vegas.
And can you imagine how The Rock is going to sell that? That's how I was talking about. You were asking me about my RKO sell job. I was going to ask about what you thought The Rock was going to do for one last stunner.
Well, he's got to go all out for the last stunner, of course. Hopefully, it's a better looking stunner than Vince McMahon received.
Oh God!
At WrestleMania 39, or any stunner for that fact, because Vince could never take a good stunner, man.
No, never.
It's even worse when he was elderly.
Yeah, but it kind of has some charm to it for that reason. But Ryan, your 3 predictions for next year. I know you always go a little bolder than I.
Yeah, I went a little too bold last year because I went 0 for 4 on my predictions. I got Dom wins Mr. Money in the Bank. I think Dom Mysterio, he's been doing some good work, and I think they're going to reward him with Money in the Bank, and I think the concept suits him just he's the perfect guy for the concept, Money in the Bank. Because you want a sleazy heel at the Money in the Bank briefcase holder, which the original Money in the Bank briefcase holder, Edge, made his whole career out of being a sleazy heel. I think Big E returns to the ring. Because the red herring was when the New Day was breaking up on that 10-year anniversary special thing they did. And Woods was saying to Big E that you need to be honest with the fans and tell them that you're never going to return. I don't think they say something like that unless he's going to return. So I feel like Big E is going to return, and we're going to get, I can see a Big E, Kofi, and Xavier 3-way match at WrestleMania. I can see that happening. And I think Cody Rhodes finally turns heel in WWE.
I would be perfectly okay if all of those happened, honestly.
Oh, the Cody Rhodes thing, I think that we have enough top baby faces with Roman now, a top baby face, that we can turn Cody Rhodes heel. And we just have different regime now. We don't have a guy on top that is stubborn to how he thinks the company should be. I think Triple H is one of those guys that he is gonna go with the flow. Just like, do you think if Vince was still booking last year's WrestleMania that Rock would have turned heel? I don't think that sort of thing would have happened if Vince was still in charge. So I think we get a Cody Rhodes heel turn, man. He's due for one. He needs it.
Yeah, and he's been kind of showing that recently a little bit. Like, he's got kind of a mean streak. And if at Saturday night's main event, Kevin Owens does pull it off, I could kind of see that being the first domino. So I don't know. We're going to see. But thank you guys for tuning in for the 2024 Scoopies. Make sure you guys follow us on all of our socials. Check out Dead Threads. We've got one more episode this year we're going to do. We're going to do a Saturday night's main event review next week. And then after that, we're just going to do watch-alongs until the start of 2025. But it's been a fun year for wrestling. It's been a fun year doing the podcast, as always. We appreciate all of you. Hope you have a good day. Thank you for listening. Take care.